Which is Chetan's favorite lit fest?
The only lit fest I go to.
Only lit fest he goes to.
No, it's true. It's because Shiny is my editor and I don't go to lit fest.
Huh.
So, I mean, okay, I go to lit fest if they pay,
Huh.
but most don't. So, but this one doesn't pay. So this is the only one I do. No, just being honest in case you see me somewhere and say, "Arey, tumne to dekha tha." So Shiny is my editor from very first book. She's been my editor and she's one of the key
So
members
that's
here.
why this is a lit fest he makes time for. You know, I think Bangalore Lit Fest is 13 years old, but this is my first time here, and I'm wondering why, because I love the vibe so far. It seems very intimate, unlike a lot of other festivals, and that's fantastic. Also, you know, the city of trees is wonderful to come to, the city of trees and the city of startups now. Till the startups came on the scene and the startup founders came on scene, Chetan Bhagat was the most famous IITian. Now these startups upstart ho
I
gaye.
still am.
Huh? Are you still no, I don't, are you
I
sure?
don't know. I think Arvind
Are you
Kejriwal.
sure?
I think Arvind Kejriwal is more famous. I mean, if you're just,
Huh.
if there is a category of most famous IITian, which I don't know why that category exists, but yeah, I would say, I mean, Arvind Kejriwal is much more in the news than I am, and everybody knows him.
That's a very clever way to deflect from the point I was making, which is the other IITians who are startup
Yeah,
founders
they're all here. They're all.
have
Are you
all
guys
got
all
the attention now. The IIT attention is on the startup founders.
correct? But they've had to make $1 billion. and make big companies with thousands of people and take the stress of investor money. I just had to write love stories. So ho gaya. Are you guys all rich? They are all Bangalore people, right?
Yeah, totally.
You're rich? Yeah, because you're not running companies, you're attending Lit Fest. So kya hoga fir? Go open something. Like deliver food in like 2.5 minutes or something. This is you can, right? Bangalore is where it started. You know, if you order I don't know, one toothpaste, it will come. Like I could actually do it. It will come in.
You want to try it?
No.
So Chetan, why, you know, what, can I say something actually right up front? Chetan, when he did his first book in 2004, I used to do a show on CNBC TV18 at that time called Beautiful People, I think. Yeah.
You must be, because if I was in it.
So, you know, can I say that you've come a long way, baby?
You mean I'm not as beautiful? Or yeah, it's been long.
Well,
I mean,
some of the pudge has gone.
yeah. Yes, I've definitely lost some weight from, but 2004, you know, when you say it, like I turned 50 this year.
Yeah.
And my first book, 5.1, like it's been 20 years. That gig is, like it's somehow, I'm still kind of around, which I never thought. And 50 is old. Dude, like when I was young, like there's a children's lit fest happening. I was seeing, when I was that age, those kids, I thought people who are 50 should die. Like, why are they there? But now, yes, now I don't feel it's that
So
old.
how do you justify? Why do you justify? What's the case you're making for the 50-year-old to survive today to the 10-year-old, 13-year-old Chetan?
No, I think 10-year-olds, they probably still think, what are these old people doing here?
So what's the case you're making to them? Why are you still here?
Because I think mentally I'm not 50. I don't think I'm younger than some of those kids. Mentally, abhi bhi, and even heart actually, but that's a separate story. But I think mentally, as long as you keep yourself engaged with new challenges, they don't have to be massive challenges. Little bit challenges, like, you know, it could be like you lift 8 kilos in the gym, dumbbell, you can lift 9 or 10. Even something like that small. As long as you have something in your life which you are improving on, career, health, relationships, whatever, you don't feel old. And you can also, of course, if you take care of your health, nowadays there's a lot of knowledge. And I think we all have to die. But the idea is not to go like this, but go like this. And you want to die on your own terms.
Okay.
So I think you can, at 50, also enjoy a lot of the things of youth, and also a lot of pluses come at 50. Because I think it's finally the age where you don't give a damn, man, what people think of you. You don't care. I mean, I'm telling you about, like you mentioned IITians. We had our IIM reunion, IIM Ahmedabad reunion. And I've attended like 10th.
You just slipped that in, right? He's the original IIT
They know. It's okay. It's a
success
long time
story.
ago. But no, the interesting thing is there was a 10th reunion, there was a 20th reunion, and there was a 25th reunion. So 10th reunion, like, is everybody saying, you know, I'm going to New York for a business trip, you know. But the CEO wants me to come along with him. Like, everybody was this mode. Then after, on the 20th reunion also, it was like, I am chairman, I'm running a bank, I have my own startup, you know, I play golf, still flexing a bit. And by 25th, you know, my blood report came this. It was so hilarious. Like, we went to, it was in campus, 25th happens in IIM Ahmedabad, and it was everybody, and nobody cares anymore. Nobody's asking about how much money you have, what title you have, what's your business card, kaisa hai tu, you know? How's life been for you? Oh, your wife is a bitch? Okay, mine too. Okay, you know, like this more relatable stuff, stuff that really matters. And I think that's what happens at 50, that you really confront your real self. And I think the sad part is most of your life is over by the time you figure out what life is. But that
Do you like who you are today when you look in the mirror? How do you feel? Because the mirror, there's some technique you've talked about in this new book of yours, isn't it?
I am much more comfortable with myself. When I was growing up, I was very underconfident, lots of self-esteem issues, lots of rage, lot of anger. It's not there now. It's genuinely not there. It's atrophied somewhere in my brain. I've confronted a lot of my demons. I mean, it was a conscious effort. It didn't just happen. I said, you know what? I can't be 50-year-old and have my childhood traumas run my life. It's stupid. You know, I'll give you an example. Sorry, I'm going to. I think I got into these overachieving colleges, not because I was dying to be an engineer or be an MBA. Who wants to be an MBA anyway? When growing up, I want to be an MBA, you know. Like, I did it somewhere, like my father was in the army, and I was not a very athletic child. I was writing, creative stuff, plays, doing all kind of stuff in school, which was in that direction. And I think he was never impressed with that. It was like, you have to be athletic, and you have to be... And I think to win his love, I kind of tried to achieve in other areas. And I did IIT, then I did IIM, then I did investment banking, then books, then movies, and it kind of was going on and on and on. But there was still a void in my head. There was still a hole in, like, as if like it was not enough. Nothing seemed enough. Three Idiots didn't seem enough. Nothing seemed enough. More karna hai, aur karna hai, aur karna hai. And then I realized that, dude, this is, like, I could be the most famous author in the planet, and it will not be enough. So some things, the wiring is mismatched inside. Some circuit is, koi USB galat laga hua hai. And the only, so I was, and then I realized it, that I'm just doing it a sense to be loved and accepted, achieve more. Why do you want public's love? Why do you want fame? Usually people are messed up in the head if you want fame, I think. And it was this, that I was just trying to show that I'm enough. But we are actually enough. We don't have to achieve. We don't have to become stars to be enough. But somehow I felt if you become famous, then you'll be enough.
So you like who you are today better than who you were
I think so,
a few years
because
ago?
I realized I'm just achieving. I'm the fastest rat, but I'm just a rat with a tail on fire. If you have 5 rats and you put a tail on fire, that rat will run the fastest. He will win gold medals. But it's ultimately just a rat with a tail on fire. So I realized first I have to, like, put that fire in the water. And it may mean I'll slow down. It may mean that it will not be the conquering new frontiers. But I'll be a happier mouse, Mickey Mouse, or something, cuter mouse. And I think I am that person today. And now I'm not doing it because my tail is on fire. I'm doing it because my head wants to go there. I'm doing things that I actually want to do. So I think I'm very grateful for old age for that. I mean, is it old? 50 is old, yaar. It is old, yaar. What is it, middle age? It's not middle.
Don't look at me. You're not getting any
I don't know.
suggestions
I mean,
from
I'm
me.
getting older, chalo, fine. It's really good that way, because when you're in your 20s, we're all stupid. I mean, sorry, 20s. You'll realize it one day. We think we know everything now. Because compared to teenager, you know a lot better.
Yeah, but you know, having said that, don't diss the 20-year-olds because that's where your money is still coming from. That audience, those guys, you know.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
Exactly.
No, I'm not dissing them. I'm just
One
showing
second,
them. Really.
hang on. Which 50-year-old really wants to listen to Chetan Bhagat?
आए हैं.
Like, really?
दो चार आए हैं.
Like, do you really want to listen to this guy? What does he have to tell you?
I don't know. They've
तो
come. अब आ गए हैं यार ऐसे घर पे.
अंग्रेजी भी अभी जाके थोड़ा एक सेंटेंस ठीक से बोल रहा है.
That's correct. But
Right? So, no, 1 second.
भाषा थोड़ा ना मैटर करती है. भाषा मैटर करती होती तो अंग्रेजों को भगाते क्यों हम यहाँ से?
अच्छा ठीक है ठीक है. So the question is, I'm coming to the point I'm trying to make, which is that how do you stay relevant to an audience? Because, you know, let's face it, when Chetan wrote his first book and all the subsequent books, he really became the voice of a young India, of a non-English speaking, non-metro elite Indian voice, and also the voice of, you know, that post-liberalization, New India, all of that, the IIT, IIM success story. And it is and was then very much, and even today, a very authentic youth voice that emerged. At 50, how do you stay relevant to this? Are you still the voice of the youth?
Okay, I'll answer this. Let's not keep mentioning 50 again.
You
Okay. Okay. I mean,
You
it's
talked about it
established.
at length.
पता लग गया.
No, so how do you stay
I'll
relevant?
answer this.
Yeah.
And you know, this whole idea of relevance. If you asked me this 15 years ago, I would tell you, like, this is how we plan it. We become relevant by appearing on TV, appearing on social media, and doing this strategy and that strategy. I am no longer in that zone where I need external validation. I don't want the world to say he's relevant or not. It's irrelevant to be relevant. To my kids, I'm always going to be relevant. To my mother, I'm always going to be relevant. To my friends, I'm always going to be relevant. And those are the people who are actually relevant in my life. I just try to create books, you know, whatever art I'm creating, movies, or even if it's a video or it's a talk also, which if that's writing that story.
It was self-expression.
Yes, and I think I want to go back to that. If I'm relevant, fine. If I'm not relevant, that's also fine. Who's relevant? Nobody's relevant. You know, it's just like they are in the news.
And that's not a pressure for you at all.
No. In fact, I'd rather not be so relevant that I'm on this treadmill of media visibility, or he's being talked about, or he's achieved this. कर लिया अभी सारा तो सब क्या कर लिया?
So Chetan, it's not about being relevant because people know about you or what you're up to, but it's about what you're saying and what you're putting out there, your thoughts, your ideas, your books. Is there a pressure to be relevant to a young audience? I mean, I know filmmakers, you know, writers, especially writers of films who are like, ये picture चली कि नहीं, we don't know whether this will connect, we don't know, I'm 50, will my story connect with the 20-year-old because it's a love story about 20-year-olds? So I'm saying, is that a pressure in the work that you do?
That pressure is there definitely in a film industry setting because they're putting so much money and it's a project. The money has to be made back.
Not so much for an individual.
I mean, it's okay, what will happen? Okay, what will happen? It'll sell a little less. Okay.
So why haven't you when was the last book of fiction that you wrote?
That was came in COVID, 400 days, which was in 2021. So I must have finished writing it in 2020 only. Yeah. So it's been a while, but I'm writing it now. It's going to come next year. And it's going to be a love story. And I have really ripped out my life, completely changed my life to write this book. I've moved like pretty much to Dubai because I want to be away. I moved away from this idea of relevance. I'm not like, you know, keen to even sign a contract. Nothing I want to do. I just want to do a great, amazing story. And
basically, you made all your money.
what is all your money? You know, like it's always, yeah, I mean, it's been okay. I mean, I was an investment banker before and I bought Apple shares the day the iPhone was released. So track the shares, I'm fine. Like, I mean, okay. You know, but the money is not the point. No, it's, you see, money can buy happiness. It can, but only if you use it for things. Like, let's say you buy a nice house. It can buy, but the nice house is not going to give you happiness. It's when you entertain in that house, when your best friends from the past come and you all have a great evening in that beautiful house. Like I have a lovely balcony, for example. I wanted a balcony place in Dubai. And some people always keep visiting. And I love to host. We sit and we talk about times, we listen to music. That is true happiness. And it wouldn't have happened if I didn't have that house. So in that way, money gives that happiness. If you go on a vacation with your kids, it's not the vacation. It's not some like monument you see in Europe, which is like 700 years old. Okay, what do we do? It's the experience you have with that kids in the airport, you know, the memories you create. That wouldn't have happened without the money. You only need money for that, and that's not a lot. That's not a lot. But the way, with men, I think especially, we get into the mine is bigger than yours category in a lot of things. It starts from very early days in the school toilet, but it never ends. And money becomes a proxy for that. Like, I have achieved more than you, I'm better than you. But luckily, you know, I have friends who are unicorn owners from my college. And they are at 1 billion. Now, I am not even getting close to that.
So how do you feel?
That game is over only.
Yeah.
No, so then I don't, like, khatam hi ho gaya na. If everybody was like 10% more than me, 5% more than me, maybe I would have said, I can beat him. Now it's like, dude, you are up there in money. Plus, the other thing I see is a lot of them are not very happy. I'm serious. They are actually, which I feel like slapping them sometimes, that you have 1 billion and you're not happy. But it's funny how the human mind is. They're not happy. And there's various reasons why that is. And I realize that money is only a tool. And I have enough tools in my inbox to kind of, toolbox, sorry, to do what I want with it. Now I just want to...
Toolbox, not toolkit.
Toolkit is you guys.
Toolkit is you guys.
I don't know. Is there a toolkit? Is that George Soros sent you?
How do you spell Soros?
I don't know.
S-O-R-R-O-W.
It's really funny because when I was in banking, George Soros used to be around. I mean, he's a financing guy. And it's funny now how he's still kind of now linked to the politics and all. But anyway.
Can you see how he's not wanting to engage further on this?
No, I can. So George Soros was, I don't know what he's doing now, but at that time, he realized that the British economy is really weak. So he started betting against the pound. He just took on the bet against the pound that the government will have to devalue the pound. So he was one of the first individual investors, he had a hedge fund, to take on a full government. And that to like the UK, not some chota-mota republic. And the Bank of England had to bend. I mean, he took so many bets and other people joined him that they had to devalue the pound, and he made a lot of money. And it kind of was seen as what is happening to the world. Like one wealthy individual can bring the economy of a country down. So that's why he became a little notorious since those days. Abhi tak chal raha. But yeah.
So, you know, we talked about startup founders. I'm a little curious, you know, your IIM trajectory, it's almost a decade. If you look at 10 years as a decade, it's about 10, 11 years later that the rush of tech startups came out of India.
Correct.
Do you feel what happened? Why is, you know, your batch and that era of guys went into multinationals, went into, you know, I mean, Sundar Pichai is an IITian, you know, leading Google, or ABC actually. But the question is, why did that wave happen at that time that it did, and not in your
Very simple reason.
Which is?
Broadband.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have internet speeds.
Yeah.
People tried. You know, one of my friends, Ashish Sharma, he tried what Zomato is today right after college. But we were just not ready. We didn't see, until mobile internet came, e-commerce did not take off. And if you are only on the desktop, you are not going to order 2 samosas. But on the phone, party's on. You know, so it's just so convenient. So I think that took a while. Smartphones took a while. So that you had to be life is right place, right time.
Sure.
Some of them have. It's not true that my batch people have not.
No,
Some are like
I mean
a
the
first cry,
high-profile
but
tech-based startups.
yeah, like something like a first cry.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my
of course.
batchmate. Big basket was I'm forgetting. But there's a few. There's a few. Quicker. Pranay started that. I mean, these are
Do you
all.
feel any, would you have, if you were to have been a startup founder, which one do you think you would have been most like? I mean, you know, they're all pin-up guys now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So, by the way, some guys you don't know, like this one guy, Vikrant Bhargav, and a couple of them, back in 2006, he had sold a company called Party Poker. They had made an online casino, and they sold it like a few years out of college for like $800 million then. So there were a few, far and few. For me, I think it would have to be like a writing related. Like I've actually toyed with the idea of lot, like you know, Medium.
Yeah, yeah.
Like something like that. I would love to do that for India, but I'm just too lazy now. And it's a lot of work to do a startup and to scale it and to make it. I know these people closely. Any hyper success in life, including, I would say, in some ways mine, but maybe not, they are even more busy than me, but even mine, when it came, it comes at a cost. We always tell people, follow your passion, and it's great to just go after your passion, dude. But they don't tell you it comes at a cost. For example, when it says focus on your passion, it means ignore everything else. That's what focus by definition means. Everything else is a distraction, including your family, right? Now your kids are thinking, all my other friends' dads, they just go to a boring bank, come back at 6 o'clock, and I am the light of their day. They come pick me up, and they are like, you know, they don't care about that stupid job at the bank. I am why they live, and they wait for Fridays. And whereas if you're a startup founder, or if you are a writer trying to become the #1 writer or famous, you are like on, man. You're on founder mode, what they call it. Yeah. So then the kids think, okay, my daddy has something he loves as much as me, or maybe even more than me. And then they resent you. And then you buy them things to buy that resentment away because you have money. But it never really works, right? This is never discussed. So for me, when you ask me, do you feel that you could have had, of course, if you sit around and say, Chetan, would you like $1 billion? Yes, Anuradha, I would love that. But am I ready to do the work? Am I ready to put in the cost for that? Am I ready to give up a big chunk of my life for that? No, no. And I've done it in my own field. Sure. And I've burnt the candle at 2 ends, 3 ends for 10 years. And it's hard to say whether it was worth it or not. Because it came at a cost. And that's when you look at life in your whole way. What is it you really want? So it can go crazy, you know. Like people like Elon Musk, we've all heard he slept on shop floors. Tesla, he slept in the factory for 2 years. And he has like 13 kids. Yeah. Do you think he remembers their birthdays and he goes for their football games in school or whatever? It's hard, right? So then, is he doing the right thing? I don't know. I don't know. So yeah.
You want to talk about your new book?
Yeah, okay, sure. I mean, the one I'm writing, I can't talk about, but the one that came out, 11 Rules for Life, yes, for sure.
Yeah. So, you want, very briefly, Chetan begins with the premise that as you grow up, you're told that, you know, everything will be fair and all of that, and just and if you're deserving and meritorious, and then actually the real world is about 3 classes, which are?
Which are basically there's a class 3. Actually, let's start from the top. There's the absolute elite who control this world, the 1%, as it's often called.
Okay.
The rich people, the famous people, the powerful politicians, influential people. Then you have the second class, say around 10% of people who are supporting the upper class, which are like doctors, lawyers, accountants, also privileged, also doing very well. And then you have 90% below, which is like the workers, the drones, the guy who's getting you the toothpaste in 8 minutes, and somehow it's justified, he's available that cheap, that his labor is worth that much. And that's the reality of life. To say that you want to work hard, good things will happen, that the world is nature, or this planet is not designed to be comfortable. it's not designed to be fair. It is not a hotel we check into and say, hello, welcome to Earth, that's your room.
But Chetan,
We, anywhere in the jungle, anywhere, we compete, we fight, we rise.
so I'm surprised that you feel that you need to tell people that, because all of us know how tough it is, and you've completely this analysis of yours completely negates the reality of caste, the reality of regional issues. I mean, it's a very sanitized presentation of the difficulties of life. Why are you so afraid of bringing in other realities?
No, I'm not. See, the book is meant to make people rise in life. It's meant for young people who read the book and level up in life, who kind of like realize that if they don't work hard, they're going to be shoved into a class, and it's impossible to jump classes. I mean, it is possible, but it's extremely rare. And you have to fight to keep jumping your class. Whether that class, I have just kept it simple. The idea is there is a lot of complexity. There is regional, religion, caste. If you try to bring all that, it just becomes a very complicated book, which
is not your signature style, right? You keep it simple.
Which only certain kind of people read. So
no, I didn't mean that. You
no,
keep it simple.
I know. So it's for simplicity's sake that there is inequality in this world. There is unfairness in this world. And now you are here to make your mark in this world. I use the concept of aukat a lot.
Yeah.
That in India, this word is there only in India. It's not, there's no equal word in English. This concept of aukat. And we know कि हमारी इतनी औकात है. The guy who's putting up the tent over here, he knows मैं life में इतना ही आगे जा सकता हूँ. So I'm making people challenge that concept of aukat. And okay, it is possible to jump your aukat. I think I did. But what does it take? And it takes enormous amount of work. It takes a life dedicated to that. And that's what the opening of the book is. That's if you are not willing to do the work, don't read this book. Because it's not going to help you that much. So that's where I'm coming from there.
So I just want to pick up a couple of points that you made, because you give young people who are looking to break through or move beyond the constraints and barriers that the accident of their birth puts them into. There are 11 rules that Chetan puts out. One of them is mastering English. In 2024 India, do you think English is still a passport out of one class to the other?
For sure. For sure. I mean, for the same...
I would love to speak almost fully only in Kannada or in Hindi or in Tamil, because I feel my audience is really tiny, because the only language I'm fluent in is English.
That's because of the field you're in. Like you're trying to build an audience. But in general, if you are a young person, same intelligence. Somebody who speaks English well and somebody who doesn't, their salaries will be different. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's just one language. There is no other language which gives you that kind of advantage. So I think if you want to jump class, one of the simplest ways is to at least master simple English. But I do say simple English. You need to know that. Not Sashi Tharoor English. Chetan Bhagat English is okay. But you need to know that. Because if you don't, I mean, there are exceptions. We were discussing like the Prime Minister, or there can be cricketers who don't speak. But that's an exceptional level of talent in another field. In that case, political talent. In this case, cricket talent, or a singer who doesn't need to. But for normal people who are not in those, or just looking for a job on LinkedIn, I mean, your English is needed. I mean, without that, it's not going to work. It's just truth. Is it fair or not fair? That's a separate discussion that, why...
But you're saying in 2024, it's still as much of an edge.
Probably more of an edge, because now we have so much tech, and a lot of tech platforms run on English still. So it's
on the back end, the front end, especially social media and all, are doing it in all languages, voice to text.
Correct,
all of
you
that.
can do it, but like I said, it will help you only. It will not be... And why do you not want to learn the language? Why? It's one of the easiest flexes you can have, is to learn English. The other things are much harder to do in the book, So this, I feel, is one of the simplest ones.
You also talk about not going after the cheap dopamine hit.
Yes.
Right? What does that mean? Elaborate on that, because I think we're all grappling with
with
this
it's a very
at different
misunderstood. Everybody's heard of dopamine, sort of. on some Instagram story or something, but we don't really fully understand it. So it is not a pleasure chemical. A lot of people think it's a pleasure neurochemical. It's not. It has one job. Its job is to tell you, get more. Or chahiye. If I put a plate of chips in front of you, you put one in your mouth, you'll be listening to me and you'll keep eating those chips till they're over. Something is happening, right? Some brain instruction went, said, hand, move there, bring chip to mouth. You don't not even aware of it. What is happening? It's because when you had that first chip, because it had fat and all those other things, so it released some pleasure, it released something, it said, get more of this. And it's meant, it's there for a reason. It's there when you put in an effort, dopamine is released. It allows you to do more effort. Otherwise, 2 minutes of effort and we'll stop. We'll just say, I don't want to do this, man. I don't want to study. I don't want to run. I don't want to lift weights because it's too hard. I'd rather just lie down. But dopamine release and then you enjoy it. Especially, that's why after you finish the gym, you feel good. After you've had a good day of work or studying, you feel good. It's a very delicate system of effort-based reward. But today, companies have figured out how to hack this dopamine. You can just release it without the effort. It's like a lemon in your head, and it would.
Which are these companies?
Meta, Meta, Haldirams. I don't want to name names, but any junk food company, any liquor company, any cigarette company, any porn company, any of this social media companies, they're all, see, there is only one mechanism in the brain. It's not like 7, 8 different mechanisms. Everybody finds their own poison, and that poison, what it does, it releases dopamine without the effort. When it releases without the effort, firstly, it kills your motivation to do the effort. Secondly, it gives you a high the first time because it's amazing, right? It can come from eating a gulab jamun also. It can come from eating having a cigarette also. But the high reduces the next time, more and more and more. Ask any long-term smoker. They're not getting any high anymore. They're like, but if I don't smoke, I feel crap. They are smoking to feel normal. That's what addictions do. And these addictions can then grip your head. Like your life goals, all this talk of, where do you want to go in life, being more happy, growing, all goes. Because that addiction has a grip on your head. And it could be from Instagram. Instagram Reels also is the same thing. And ask yourself, what can't you leave for 30 days? What can't you leave for 30 days? That's your addiction. If you can't leave Instagram for 30 days, or porn for 30 days, or liquor for 30 days, that means it has a grip on you. But the healing is also possible. Our brains are neuroplastic. So if you do manage to give it up for 30 days, your brain will get reset. It'll be uncomfortable, it'll be horrible. You can even reintroduce the substance back or the social media app back, but give it up for 30 days and you'll find a new you. This is the easiest way to transform yourself.
You did that? Because you were very active at some point and you got into Twitter wars and all.
Now I deleted X from my phone. If I want to use it, I have to go.
Chetan,
Huh.
I should be the motivational speaker.
Why?
Because I didn't do all this trial and error and I've already achieved this nirvana kind of state that you've taken so long to achieve and made so much money in the process.
Yeah, but most of us are not as enlightened as you know. So I am there to help these people from my journey.
Sorry.
And it's, I just want to mention, since we are on the book, one more rule for this audience because maybe some message will reach. So the number one rule is on fitness. I discovered fitness very late in life. So I'm telling you this because even the older people here, they shouldn't think, oh, this is for young people. I discovered it at age 45 or so, right? I was always a fat kid. My identity was of a fat, unfit person. And I think I discovered fitness. And I didn't realize it then because typically we think fitness is exercise, but it's 3 things, right? One is exercise, yes, which is both cardio and weightlifting. And everybody needs to lift weights, right? Especially as you're getting older because your muscle mass drops. And one of the key reasons why people die or have a very bad old age is if they have a fall and if their hip breaks. They never really recover from that. But if you have muscle, if you're falling, you'll hold something, and you need weight training for that. You need a high protein diet also for that. And women also need to do it. No, women should not be worried that they'll become super muscular Arnold Schwarzenegger. That will not happen because men have been because a lot of women don't lift weights thinking they don't want to be look very bulky. Dude, men have been trying to look bulky, lifting weights for 10 years, right? And you still don't get a great body. You know, you have to get everything on point. And if women think 2 days I lift 3 kilo dumbbells and I'll be like Schwarzenegger, wo nahi hoga. So don't worry on that, but you do need to lift weights. Secondly, on diet, you know, आपको जलेबी पसंद है? You like जलेबी? तो जलेबी कमाल की हो सकती है. कमाल की जलेबी थी यार, है ना? You like गुलाब जामुन? समोसे? कमाल के समोसे हो सकते हैं ना? है ना? कमाल का खाना नहीं खाना. Any food that can be described as कमाल का नहीं खाना. Like गोभी है. गोभी अच्छी हो सकती है. गोभी कमाल की नहीं होती. गाजर है. गाजर कमाल का नहीं होता. And there is a scientific reason for this. These are what we call hyperpalatable foods. They are too tasty, so you cannot control portions. Your brain hijacks because the dopamine circuits kick into action, and they just prevent you from using any logic. So कमाल का खाना कम and अच्छा खाना ज़्यादा, because that will not harm you. ऐसे you'll never hear कि यार ये गाजर खा खा के मोटा हो गया. Like, you know, everything was great. And my last thing on this is, last thing is sleep in fitness, which is extremely important. If you go to the gym but you don't sleep properly, it's a waste because you're not recovering. Gym, you're breaking things, your muscles and all, and when you sleep, it recovers. How many of you get good sleep? 50% bhi nahi hai. How do you think you can be happy without sleep? Have you ever met a happy person who has not slept well? Hoga hi nahi na. That's partly the reason some of the billionaires are not happy. No, because you think ki you have to optimize sleep. We don't have time, but read up on how to get good sleep. Same time sona hai, same time utna hai, dark room, tension nahi leni, bahut sari cheezein. You must get these 3 things right, especially in your older age, you know, and then you'll see that your life only transforms. You'll be much happier, more productive, everything. These are simple, actionable fixes, and that's the kind of approach I tried in the book.
In the book. Okay, I've got to open this up to questions because the clock is counting down. Yes, I can see the lady here in the front. You've got a question? You'll have to come here. Come in front, please. Yes, we get a mic to the lady, sir. Please take a seat. Get a mic to the lady there.
Namaste, sir. How are you?
Very good. Thank you.
I'm a psychologist, actually. I'm a student counselor. And regarding that brain chemicals, actually, it depends upon the genes and our lifestyle and our habits, actually. And the food,
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yes. Of course,
Because we
yes.
want many questions to come.
The
in.
final
Come
points,
straight
of
to
course,
the
I can't
question.
discuss everything, but yes.
Yeah, for younger generation, how you explain about the food which they take from house. Nowadays, people, young generation, they are not at all interested to have a food at house.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think, like I said, you have to tell them that these hyper tasty foods, you have to first acknowledge that they are very tasty. I'm not saying ki jalebi and samosas are not tasty, but that's the problem. That you will have no control over the portion, and then eventually they'll really harm you. You could even die with like a disease later on because of these things. So that's, I think, only education is the only thing we can do.
Yes,
This question about IIT. IITs are conceptualized based on MIT Massachusetts.
Okay.
You know the contribution of MIT in the US development. From day one to today, IITs are talking about individual success. It's a very pathetic. Another issue is...
What have the
MIT
done?
MIT has 100 Nobel recognitions. Nobel recognitions transform civilization. They define civilization. MIT has 100 Nobel recognitions in core subjects. IIT has 5 IITs. Put together 7 decades, 0. 100 is to 0.
Okay.
IITs should know that...
मैंने नहीं खोले सर, मेरे पे क्यों चढ़ रहे हो?
नहीं.
मैंने खोले आईआईटी, मैंने खोले,
including
मैंने खोले. पता है मेरे को भी एग्जाम देके ही जाना पड़ा था.
including Sundar Pichai. He is talking only about individual.
आपका सवाल क्या है?
Yeah.
Yes, you should take it as challenge. Why? MIT's contribution. IIT should first know the contribution of MIT to the development of sustenance of superpower states of the United States,
Okay.
not individual success. Today, IITs are telling, I have 2 crore package.
Okay.
It's a
that's
shame.
Okay,
Okay,
that's,
sir.
that's an
That should-
interesting
I mean,
point.
Okay,
शर्म की बात है.
That's
okay,
an
okay.
interesting point.
But I just
Give it
want to
the
say
lady,
one thing.
Girl in pink.
कि the
Yeah.
MITs, IITs have recently even just started this thing. My friend has started this there. Something called endowment. Do you know, we are not allowed, they're not allowed to have endowments. MIT will have billions of endowments with which they do the research that you're talking about. IITs were not created for that and they're not structured for that. They were designed to make engineers for India. They were not. And secondly, you're judging success based on Nobel Prizes, which you think is the ultimate thing, which fine, you can, it's your view, you can see it, but I'm just saying the structure is very different and if it's it's okay, sir.
Fair enough.
I'm not the founder of IIT and neither am I. If you are unhappy with it, तो ठीक है, अभी मैं क्या कर
ठीक है,
सकता हूँ?
चलो.
I know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes. Hello,
And that's the
Chetan.
final question.
Yeah. First, I want to start off by saying that the energy on stage was so. It just made the audience laugh, and I loved the dynamic you both had.
This is because we have two old, like very good association.
And my question is, have you ever felt distance with your own writing? In the sense, in my case, my question, so earlier I used to write as a medium of expression, and a lot of chaos would just come onto paper. But recently, I am feeling that distance not as a writer's block, but I don't know why the experiences are not getting translated to words. I'm having a great relationship with myself, the inner world, but there is that distance between words in me. So have you ever felt that?
Yeah, it happens. It happens. You can have all kinds of phases, and sometimes it could be stress related. Sometimes it could be you're too busy. Sometimes it could be that you're like it happened to me because I became famous. That now my next book, how will I beat this? How will I beat 2 states? You know, how will I beat Half Girlfriend? And you go mental. If you're thinking like that, you'll never be able to write the story. And that state of being outcome, it doesn't matter. I'm writing this for me. If I like it, that's all that matters. It's hard because especially once you're popular, but that's what I constantly struggle with. And I try to protect that space that I never get into that zone, but this does happen, that it's not coming. And if it doesn't come, it doesn't come, you know. It's okay. It's a creative process. It's not a button. It's not like making a PowerPoint that you have to get on and do it. It's not coming, it's not coming. You're not feeling it, not feeling it. But try to go behind why you're not feeling it. Is it some stress? Are you pressured? Are you feeling insecure about like what people will say? Address that and then it will come.
Do you have any technique how you get back to it?
This only.
writing.
Just take a break. Come to Lit Fest. You know, just do other things in life and your brain gets reset.